Eli, what did you do to prepare yourself at age 38, 16th training camp, with a young quarterback, Daniel Jones, nipping at your heels? How did you prepare for this training camp?
Yeah, you always prepare hard, and I think that's always been my mindset is, treat the off season as an opportunity to get stronger. As you get older, I think you do have to work harder, and you have to do, just keep your, being able to bend, keep your legs strong. I've never been known as a runner, but you still got to do a lot of, footworks, drills, is to keep those fast twitch muscles, somewhat fast as they can be at this age. And so you do all that during the off season. So when you come in here, a lot of arm care. So really for training camp, when you have 9 practices in 10 days, your arm can hang, your legs stay strong, where you can still make all the throws.
Eli, being now that you're in the second year of this offense, obviously there's a lot more comfort for you. And when you have a wide receiver core that's kind of in a state of transition right now, do you find yourself able to, now that you're more comfortable in this offense, kind of help them out and kind of really dig into the nuance of the offense and have that be a factor as far as raising your performance as well in 2019?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're so much farther along than we were last year, just on knowing what plays that we like to run, what has worked for us, what certain players can do well, where to put them in certain positions. And it's not just my comfort level; it's the offensive line number of guys, having those guys back. It's Evan Ingram and Sterling Shepard. Golden Tate's a guy; he's a vet, and it's a new offense for him, but he's run all these plays before. It's just hey, what do you call it? And so, but even guys like Benny Fowler and Cody Latimer, these guys were here last year, so they're guys who they know it, and we're so more advanced. We've been so much sharper this time during training camp than last year, and we're going to be better off going into the season.
And what's the dynamic like, Eli? You and I have talked about this, but as things have progressed in training camp, what's the dynamic like with Daniel Jones as a 6th overall pick, a guy that everybody expects to be your heir apparent?
It's been good. I mean, I don't think there's any difference between this year and other years when you draft a quarterback. Even last year,
from the outside, there certainly is.
I know, but when you draft for me, whether you draft a guy, we've drafted guys, quarterbacks in the 2nd round before. We drafted them in the 4th round. We've had young quarterbacks in here. And I treat it the same as I've treated those guys, and you try to help them learn. When there's opportunities, you're not holding their hand. You're not saying, hey, we got to meet at this time so I can teach you these things. But when you're in the meeting room, when you're talking, when you're watching film, you're talking about protections, you're talking about concepts, you're talking about defenses. There's in the NFL you play different defenses than in college. There's more overload blitzes and trap defenses. You're just kind of explaining some of the rules to them, and I think if I can explain it, that means I know it, and it's fun. It's fun teaching. I've enjoyed that over the years with other quarterbacks, kind of teaching the game of football, teaching an offense. I think it helps me learn it as well.
Speaking of defenses, Eli, I've always been interested in how quarterbacks who are so cerebral like yourself and have seen everything and made every throw, seen every protection, I've rather seen every blitz, seen every kind of coverage, how they can help defensive players themselves. And so your defense is going to be under the microscope this year. And when you look at some of your corners in your secondary, again, an area that's going to be scrutinized heavily, do those guys come to you very much and say, hey, Eli, what did you see on this play? How can we be better? Can you help that side of the ball too?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is an opportunity to do that. And it's more, you see it more with the vets, guys, Antoine Bethea, those guys coming, hey, what are you seeing? What about our disguises? What gets you? You don't always tell all the secrets, but I can say, hey, I knew you were faking just by your demeanor, or like, hey, it's hard when y'all, rock and roll at the snap, different things where you can guys give them a heads up, and you see it. You kind of see the next day, they've done some things where I've said, hey, this could give us a problem. All of a sudden, surprisingly, it shows up. So, but I think you try to help those guys, and just, so they know kind of what is the quarterback looking at, what are you looking at, what helps. So I think you always try to help the defense, and you're not to give away every secret, every tip of what you're doing, but what you're seeing from them that let us know, hey, I think you're blitzing, or I think you're faking, or you're bailing.
Eli, Phil Simms was out here. He said he could see some zip on your football, that your lower body strength, your core was there. But you also worked in the offseason with Leiter, former Yankees and Mets pitcher. Tell us about how that process took place and how it helped your arm strength.
Yeah, you know, I didn't work exactly with Al. Al recommended a strength coach who his son had worked with and was in the baseball world, and so Mickey Bruckner is his name. Worked with him in the offseason just on, and he's a strength coach, but he also is has dealt with a lot more baseball players and other Major League Baseball players. So you do a lot of core, a lot of arm maintenance, stability, and just rotator cuff, and so it is centered around an overhead thrower kind of workouts. And so working with him, I think also did a lot of long ball toss, kind of a philosophy of how a pitcher would get ready to go into training camp.
Can you feel the difference?
I feel it. I definitely feel it. I feel I think as you get older, you want to make sure you're not losing your arm strength. That's something that could go away, make things harder. So I think I've maintained. I feel like maybe my deep ball, I got a little more zip on things, and so but you do notice it during training camp. I think in other years. When you have 4 or 5, practices in a row, all of a sudden, the ball starts to die a little bit, not having that juice. It still feels good. It feels strong right now.
Eli, it's interesting. Like right now, a hot topic is quarterbacks are playing longer. Quarterbacks have a much longer career. If there was one thing you could point to for like yourself, for guys like Phillip, for guys like even Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, what has changed from the time you've come into the league till now in terms of your preparation for training camp, your exercises that has prolonged quarterback careers? What do you see as the big difference now?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of quarterbacks have kind of gone into the baseball world a little bit for their training and just have a better understanding of arm care, of arm strength, of how much throwing you need to do, what do you have to do after you throw, what do you have to do to warm up smarter, and just kind of taking exercises in the weight room that are centered around your arm, your legs, your core, all those things. So I think you're just staying, guys are, obviously I think the training's different. Guys are staying healthier and their arm is staying kind of alive longer than what it used to.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus. We'll see you there.